Hey folks, welcome to verifiedinvesting.com. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here. Now in today's video, we're going to dive into the chart on Bitcoin looking at key levels, but you have to be intrigued by the price action in Bitcoin. Bitcoin today is going higher as gold and the stock market go lower. And I think, at least for me, the question is have we seen gold get so hot that money was rotating out of Bitcoin into gold because it kept on going up, and then also potentially into the stock market because the stock market just went up and away, and now the stock market and gold are pulling back, and Bitcoin is seeing a bid. Very interesting price action here. Let's jump right into the charts, and this is the chart of gold, right? So right off the bat, gold, it hit this beautiful upsloping parallel channel yesterday. I did a video on it on this very channel, and we talked about how price was likely going to come in, and sure enough, price is selling off today. This is the daily chart, so that candle is the daily candle. And notice how yesterday it tagged the high end of the parallel. Today it is selling off. Then if we flip over to the S&P, the S&P is having its second down day in a row, a nice little drop here. So you have the S&P and gold down, and then on the other side of the coin, Bitcoin is having a bounce day. And I would say, folks, and again, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden you don't have Bitcoin correlated as a risk asset. I think in panic, everything sells anyways. But at least at this point, there's no doubt there was some money pulled out of Bitcoin because it wasn't doing anything, right? I mean, Bitcoin's high was 6 weeks ago. And since then, it's kind of come down. It floated back up a little bit. It's come back down. And people, honestly, investors wanted to be where the action was. And so what we saw is money being pulled out of Bitcoin going into the stock market, into gold, and now we're seeing a reversion trade to some extent. So if we take a look again at Bitcoin, you're getting your green up day, a strong day on Bitcoin, while the stock market and gold are selling off. All right, now that we've covered that aspect, which is something we do need to monitor as chartists and technicians, let's get into what exactly the chart is showing us. So the first things first, guys, we got to look at that bigger trend line here that I gave you guys. This was one of the better calls that I've made in recent weeks. It was taking the high from 2017, stretching it through the 2021 highs, stretching it to the 2024 highs right here. And if we saw this, I mean, look at this. This was just an absolute thing of beauty. Price went right back to that line and then got rejected. I'm looking at it on the weekly chart now, but let's flip back to the daily chart. You can see it right there on the daily chart. Now, one of the things that I told you guys about a week and a half ago with this level right here was that if Bitcoin gets above this level, it's going to make a new all-time high. Now, you might say, well, how does Gareth know that? Or why at least do I think that? And let's be fair, I don't know anything. It's a probability. It's all based on probability. And the reason I see that is because when we got above the line here and we confirmed the breakout, it made a new all-time high. At that time, this was your all-time high. It then came back and got back below. Then it came up, didn't confirm, confirmed, and it made a new all-time high even higher. And then it's fallen below. And then look at how it got rejected here and then rejected again right there. And so basically, the idea is that if Bitcoin can ever confirm above this trend line, which currently is around 118,000 and change, then it makes sense that it would make a new all-time high and continue to push. Now, it didn't do that, right? It never got above. That's fine. Price fell back down. But the one thing now I'm paying very, very close attention to, we're going to leave that line, but I am monitoring the potential for a head and shoulders pattern. Now, remember, a head and shoulders pattern is only a pattern until it triggers, right? If it doesn't trigger, it means literally nothing. Okay, so here's your head and shoulders pattern, right? So we see very clear left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. You can almost make a case this is like an MA pattern as well, which is also a bearish formation. So right now, has the neckline broken, which is the trigger? What is the neckline first and foremost? The neckline, by the way, is this trend line. You connect basically the shoulder, the pierce or the low end of the shoulder. I call it the armpit, kind of the armpit to the armpit. That creates this line, which is known in technical analysis as your neckline. A head and shoulder pattern means literally nothing until that triggers. Once it triggers, you can actually do a measured move to figure out the target. Now, to do a measured move, it's very simple. All you do is you take the highest point of the head, you drop it down to the neckline right here, and you take that distance, and wherever it breaks along the neckline. So let's say it breaks over here, you do a drop of that same distance, and that gives you your target. So in this case, Bitcoin, if it breaks, would go down to approximately 91,000 to 92,000. Interestingly enough, look at where that level is. You got to love this stuff, guys. It's right in here. See this? So these lows right in here and right in here before this move up. And so that would be your downside target. Now, listen, it doesn't mean that it can't go a little lower, but that would generally be what you would assume would be your target of where Bitcoin would be. But remember, it's only valid if the neckline breaks. If the neckline never breaks and we go back up and break above this, then all of a sudden you got to go back in the camp that you're going to all-time highs. So this line here is unbelievably important on Bitcoin, just like this line. And so remember, as a technician, guys, as a chartist, I need to know all levels, meaning all major levels. I need to know where the bullish bias takes over and we're going to new all-time highs. Why? Well, because if I'm short, I can stop out and then even go long. And then vice versa. If you break the neckline and I'm long, I want to know where I can stop out and maybe even go short on Bitcoin. And that's what I'm giving you right here in the chart, the two lines that you need to be following. All right. Very simple. Keeping it simple. That's what I love to do. I'm a very simple person, right? So ultimately, it's the neckline here, which is at around 110,500. All right. So a break of that, game on to the downside. That would be a big negative. If you break approximately 100,300, 118,300 to 400, game on to the upside. Essentially, what I'm saying is that you're in a purgatory here. This is what we would call purgatory. It's between heaven and hell, essentially, right? Essentially, anything below 118,000 and change, okay, as long as you stay above 110, 5, 111, wherever this trend line neckline is, then it's just, okay, it could chop like this, up and down and up and down. It's when one of these breaks that it's game on in that direction. We know to the downside, if it breaks, you're likely headed to about 91 to 92,000. If it breaks to the upside, you would likely be headed up to, let's go here. Let's draw a trend line in right here. I would say about 128,000. And what I'm doing here is basically taking these recent highs and just connecting them. And that would give us our upside target. Okay. So essentially, if you break here, you drop about $19,000, $18,000 on Bitcoin. And if you break 118,000, you go up about 10,000, maybe more, right? I mean, we would just start reevaluating at this trend line up here of around 128. We'd have to see, does it break that? Okay, if it breaks that, then it goes further to the upside. But I think you guys get where I'm going with this, right? Keeping it simple, stuck in purgatory. Does it break the neckline? Okay, it goes here. If it breaks this line, new all-time highs. Super simple. I love keeping it simple because again, like I said, guys, my IQ is average. I just work hard. I'm a hard worker. I study things meticulously. What most people probably learn in an hour takes me 5 hours. But the point being is that if I can learn from simple trend lines, then I'm assuming everyone else can learn even faster from this stuff that I'm doing. And my goal is always to bring you guys alpha and understanding and education. And if I can do that, then I've done my job here. And I always ask guys, listen, this is free content on my channel, but do, if you can, share it around. Share it to friends, share it to family. If you think someone could benefit from technical analysis, what I do on my channel or on the Verified Investing channel with my trading game plan, just share it. That's all I ask. I thank you guys so much. Seriously. You guys are rock stars. And by the way, the comments literally brighten my day. They do. They actually do. And I do my best. I read them all through. I do my best to like as many as I can before my finger gets tired from liking. But again, the point being is it does mean a lot to me, and I do thank you guys. So thank you so much. All right. Have a great one, guys. I'll keep you posted. Take care.